We've all put these on our car, a little magnet and a GoPro. What if you want to mount your cinema camera? Need something a little heftier. How about this? I'm going to show you how to build this mount, which can barely be taken off the table, for 75 bucks, including the ball head. You may need a crowbar to get this off. This is just a starting point. Very inexpensive, $50 to $75, and you can do it yourself. We're going to be turning these into professional mounts. That's 10-inch clamps. We're going to put a plate over the top, put a camera on it, and also some that attach to other units. So we're using 10-inch, 8-inch suction cups, we're using magnets, we're using speed rail. We're going to do a whole series of videos. Maintenance Man here, and today we're going to build a simple magnetic plate for a car camera mount. Now, we have this Neewer mount, which is a suction cup, and this Neewer ball head. That's a single mount. We could just take these 3/8 magnets that we bought on Amazon and screw them to a plate. We can put 4 of those on there on a cheese plate, and we're done. But this is a little bit loose. We really want to bolt it. We could put a nut on there and tighten it up. Not a lot of space. So we are going to make our own plate out of a piece of 4x6-inch aluminum. You can find these on eBay for about $10 or $12. We have some connecting nuts that we're going to put on to give us some space. And then we're going to use bolts in the top to connect it to the plate. Believe it or not, I have a plan. You can buy these bigger magnets that we've used on a bigger plate for about $6. The smaller ones, which seem like they're just as powerful, are about $10. And we want a smaller footprint on our plate than this 4 of these. We already built a 12x12 plate with 4 magnets. We're basically going to do the same thing except miniature. I'm going to lay it out on the plate, drill some holes, and then we'll go check it out on the truck. But basically that's all it is. We're going to drill 4 holes, 2 straps, and a center point for the camera mount. In this case, we're going to use this $25 Neewer ball head as the camera mount. So we've been using magnets for a long time on things like this GoPro. And we love the GoPros, and they're great. Usually put some kind of a string on it to keep it from falling off a vehicle if we're driving down the road. But we need a heavier mount. This little ball mount is not going to be the same as this. We need something heavier. We could just take this magnet and attach it to the ball mount, and boom. But it's not going to be real tight. We could tighten that up with a bolt on the bottom, but it's only going to be not that strong. So what we want to do is create a plate, a larger footprint, not as large as the larger plate, but a larger footprint, so we have 4 magnets that'll be much more stable. I'm afraid to put it down. Don't get your finger caught under it. They are powerful. So this is a Neewer 6-inch suction cup. We added these 1/4-20 little eye bolts on here and some straps to strap it down. Really nice unit, probably the nicest one I've seen. We picked these up for about $30. They retail for $50 or $60 depending on where you get it. You put a 3/8-inch stud in there, and then this $25 ball head just screws on. And that gives you a really nice suction mount for a camera. But we want to have a magnetic mount because sometimes this isn't the best tool. One thing you'll always want to remember about these magnets is they are magnets. So they pick up everything. And little pieces of metal, little shavings, little pieces that are in the environment get stuck to it. So if you go to put this on a vehicle, make sure you have it cleaned off or you're gonna end up with scratches in your paint. And it's hard to get little pieces off because it keeps sticking to it. So we have a plate that I got on eBay. Literally, you just have to drill 4 holes, 2 for the straps and 1 in the center. The center is super easy to find. You just go take your straight edge from corner to corner and you run a line. Probably learned this in geometry. And then you take another line, and where those 2 lines cross, that is the center. So I'm going to take a punch, and I'm going to... Now, this is a spring-loaded punch. You can use a hand punch and just hit it with a hammer, and it does the same thing. We're using a spring-loaded punch. It's only about $2 or $3 at Harbor Freight, and it's a great time-saving tool. You need something to measure. I'm using a vernier caliper, but tape measure is just as good. I am going to probably come in 3/4 of an inch and go like this. And then I have a point there that I can punch. So I'll do it on all 4 sides. And these do not have to be accurate. This is not machine accuracy. They could just be in random places. Make sure that when our magnet is on there, they're not going to hit each other. So we know that that's the center. That's a good place for it. Then we want to put 2 straps in. We're going to use 2 eye bolts. And these are 1/4 eye bolts. So we only need a 1/4 inch hole. We'll go on to, well, I don't want to put it between the magnets because I don't have enough space. So we're going to do it on this side. We'll come in again. So I'm going to measure 2 3/4. With any luck, that's pretty close. Again, I'm going to put a hole there and here for our security straps. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes. I'm gonna just get an old piece of scrap wood, whatever you have laying around, put it on there, and we're just gonna drill this by hand. I'm gonna start with a 1/4 inch drill bit and drill all the holes, and then we'll enlarge the ones for 3/8. Luckily, these are aluminum, so they don't stick to the magnet, so they won't make a mess of your vehicle. So why didn't I drill those holes with the bigger drill bit first? Because it's easier to get this one in position. It locks right into the hole that we punched. This one's a little bit harder and it could drift and go off of that spot. So we start with a little bit smaller drill bit, and since we need 1/4 inch anyway on these 2, let's just do them all that way. Normally I would do this on the ground and I would step on it with my foot. That's probably the safest way to do it in case the drill catches. But for the demonstration, I can't really get my foot up here. So I am just gonna drill it. And that's what happens when it catches. Which is why you really don't want to hold it with your hand. You should use a clamp. Why don't we do it on YouTube? Because we're just trying to make a video. So it's easier when you're over here, you can hold it, but when you're over here, it's a little bit harder. I am gonna take this down on the floor, and it goes in a lot faster because you can put your body weight on it. The center hole and the outside holes have to be bigger. And that's how you make a cheese plate. Okay, so we have that drilled out. And now, I forgot before I cleaned up the mess that we should use a countersink. A countersink will just cut those edges off. So as you can see here, there's rough edges from the dull drill. And we're just gonna go and just kind of touch it. Now this will drill all the way through, so you don't want to push too hard. And you'll see if you look at a cheese plate that was made, you'll see that there's a little bit bigger edge on the outside. But do both sides. And then we'll probably eventually clean this up. You can use a file, kind of clean up your edges so you don't have sharp edges. We will probably round it off a little bit so it's not sticky. And we'll probably sand it all down so it all looks even and you can't see the scratches from where we were drilling. Okay, so now we have a plate. And again, we can go back and clean it up. This is for demonstration. These pieces can go in here as safety straps. We put the 1/4 inches, 1/4 inch holes. And I'll go ahead and put a washer and a nut. And we use all stainless steel hardware. You don't have to do that. You can save a lot of money if you don't use stainless steel. We're going to use this pretty heavily, which is why we wanted a dedicated smaller magnet. You could always just use your cheese plate, or if you have a Dana dolly that you built following our instructions, you can screw these magnets right to the plate and you have a magnetic plate. But it's a lot bigger, and we want something with a little bit smaller footprint for cars that are curved, where a big plate's not going to stick to it. These are almost the same length, and we come in with a bolt on the top, it's not going to work. So we decided just to put a nut on each one as a spacer. Again, these magnets are about $10 each, and we have these coupling nuts. And as you get something on top of it, they're easier to get off. Now, they won't be that hard to get off a car, because this is a 1/4 inch thick table and there's a lot of metal there. Sheet metal on a car is not going to be as thick and it's not going to stick as much. We're going to take these and just go right into the plate. And we use things like cap screws, which you don't have to use. You can just use regular 3/8 bolts. Obviously, your plate can be whatever size you want. So there's one. These are stainless steel, and it's good to have them stainless steel so it doesn't transfer the magnetism up into this direction into your bolts. So you can buy these magnetic plates. We're looking at one from Rig Wheels, but it's $325, and we're doing this for a whole lot less. Yeah. If you want to get these magnets and put it on, that's going to be more than enough. Again, these magnets are about 10 bucks a piece. They come with a little rubber sleeve for protection. We're going to go ahead and use this Neewer mount right up here. Uh-oh. I guess I screwed up. Can you imagine that? Maintenance man screwed up? We're going to turn these upside down. I wanted a small plate because as we started using the larger plate, we realized that it was too big. So go ahead and put them on the bottom and we'll use it that way. It is on there. Let me tell you. We're just going to put a 3/4 inch length 3/8 bolt there, and we're going to connect it to our ball head, tighten that up so we're tight. If you're worried about this falling off, I wouldn't be. This moves and the ball head moves, so you could get right angles, bring it up here, get a right angle, wherever you want. And this is a really nice heavy-duty ball head. It supports 17 pounds. I don't particularly like these little plastic rope straps, but this is what everybody's using. We're going to do this video with these, but I always recommend ratchet straps. But we're going to go ahead and hook these in here so we can strap it down. I don't think the magnets are going to come off, but that's your finished rig. It took us about 10 minutes. We're going to take this one and this one outside, test them out, put a camera on it, see how they work. So this is an impressive little rig here. I really like it. And the reason we wanted such a small magnetic footprint is because of things like this. If we put this on here, this is curved, and these bottom magnets are actually not touching the vehicle. So they're partially touching, partially not touching. But if I turn it and put it there, those are on. Okay, don't get your hand under it. That's why I would put it, space that out, because if it was too close, it would squeeze your hand in. I've got these straps, but they're also plastic, and the sun will break them down, and they can break. I mean, they're plastic. But if you want to use them, use them. I would use safety straps with metal. But you can use these, hook them to different places. We could hook this down to the frame. As I said, they're super convenient. I just don't like them. We can come down here and hook it to the frame of the vehicle. Pull it tight. Tie that up. Hook this one over to the lip on there, and we've got a camera. Nice thing is you can turn this, so if we wanted to bring this up this way, we can. So now we're level that way. And even without this hooked up, you know, it's pretty tight. The advantage of this is that you can span things like here, which you can't do with the suction cup. You can't come across something like this or here. A suction cup could go here, suction cup could go here, but this one can span the two. The problem with the suction cup is if we want to get here, we have enough room there, but if we're here, we can't, the suction cup isn't going to come around that corner. So if we try to put this here, we have an angle and then we just get space up here. Potentially we could squeeze it enough, but the chance of it coming off is pretty good because it's on this curved surface. Yeah, it didn't take much to pop it off of there. On a window, that's a much better application for the suction cup than the magnet. You can use your kayak straps, strap it down, and it should be tight. For a big open area like this, that works, but can you see, as I'm pushing the suction cup, you can see the metal. These vehicles aren't made out of really heavy metal. You can do damage to vehicles pretty quickly, and if you're putting all this vacuum pressure on it, you could actually reshape the panels on a vehicle. And if you start putting gear on here, now what's going to happen to that? So you got to be careful. This one, you know, you can see the metal's flexing. It's probably just as strong as this. I guess not as strong. So two really cool mounts, single camera mounts. This one, about $50 to $75, depending on where you get the cup. Same on this one. You're gonna have to do a little bit of drilling. And don't ever drive down the freeway with a camera on here on a suction cup, because literally that's all it takes for that to fall off. It feels like it's sturdy, but it's gonna fall off. They always fall off, so make sure you have straps holding it in place. Strap it down and have your straps holding. You can have the big magnets, but again, if your big magnet ends up here, it's open on the bottom. So you can only get it in certain places. And if you have 4 of those, like we do on the bigger plate, we have issues trying to go from, say, from here down to here. Where this can go on there, it's good. These magnets are, I mean, they're made to hold stuff, so would I go down the street without securing it with straps? No, not with my camera. This is as good as a hostess tray, except better because you can open the window. So you've got a hostess tray, which is how much? $400 or $500 for a hostess tray, and we've just done the same thing with that. Every car is a different shape, and the panels are different shapes. Some of the cars are made out of fiberglass, some of the cars are made out of aluminum. So sometimes you need a suction cup, sometimes you need a magnet, sometimes you need a big magnet, sometimes you need a little magnet. If you have 4 of those, you come down here, it's a different angle, and you're not going to be able to use it on a plate like that. I really like this thing. This is a good idea. I had it this morning. So as I look at it, I realize we need 2 more of these hooks on this side, because you always want your straps to go across from each other. And if we do it this way, we have one here and one here. And what we want is them in the middle and to stretch the straps out that way. We have these kayak straps, which can go inside the door, usually over the top. And that won't pull out, and that gives you a point to run your straps to. Now you could put them, you probably need 2 people to put them in a side door. Somebody's gonna have to hold it up and then close the door so you're in the right position. Because if I put it in here, it just falls down and then I smash that in the door. You could put them in this side. You could put this in one in the top of the door, one in the bottom of the door, and then bring your hooks down and strap it that way. You can also get little clips that go inside here. The ones that we purchased, I would never use on a new vehicle because they are metal, and if you put any tension on it, you're gonna scrape your paint. You're absolutely gonna chip your paint. So I would recommend these. If you can get these, they're about $5 a piece, and they hold kayaks on roofs, so they'll certainly hold your camera to your vehicle. This could be, we did a video about the hood mount. These can go in the hood, they can go in the door, any place that you can put it on the inside of the car, and you can see it. So, and then when I pull it, it can't go, so we can tighten that up. If you open the door, obviously it's gonna come out. Around $75, that is an extremely useful rig. Even if you're doing really high-end stuff, you drop your little cinema camera on there. It has an Arca Swiss plate, and you can just take this off, put your camera mount on there, holds 17 pounds. I like it. So with this big plate, with these big magnets, they're obviously a lot stronger. It's a heavier plate. If we try to put it here, you can see what happens. And if I push it down this way, there's no happy medium there unless we bend the car. So we can definitely bring it down here, but if we want to be inside the window, we're going to have to build this up or use bigger pieces. So this is definitely strong on there, but you're limited in what you can do with it because of the shapes of the vehicles. If you're trying to put it on here, you just don't have enough of a body panel. And if you're trying to put it up here, obviously you can't. So this is definitely nice as a hood mount. So we're off on this side and we're off on this side. Now it's still pretty strong, but it's a nice strong plate. At the same time, it's really difficult to get an area that big, and this is a big truck. So trying to find an area to put this on a car can be a problem. Now, if you're on a minivan, if you're on a pickup truck, and you want to put a camera right there and aim it out at the road, that is perfect. So there's 2 simple single camera mount projects that you can do, obviously, in minutes. You could do it the morning that you're getting ready to shoot and have a really professional rig for about 75 bucks. 2 $75 options. I showed them to you on the vehicle. We didn't do any vehicle shots. We're going to do that in some of the other videos. This is the Neewer 6-inch suction cup.